What's up, y'all? Welcome to the Rideshare Rodeo, Uber Lyft driver and gig economy news, powered by UberLiftDrivers.com. I'm your host, SJ, and it's time to get it on.
Well, midnight headlight, blinding on a rainy night, Steve laid up ahead, slowing down and making no time. I gotta keep it rolling. Those are windshield wipers slapping out the tempo, breaking from the rhythm with the song on the radio. I gotta keep it rolling. I'm driving my life away.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Rideshare Rodeo. I am just getting back in town from the 2022 Gig Worker Conference in St. Louis that was put on by Pedro DoorDash Santiago, Harry Campbell from the Rideshare Guy, Solo, Buckle, and Para, whichever you call it. I'll talk about that a little bit coming up here. Before I get into that, though, I do want to talk about Solo. Solo did a great job providing some stuff in the giveaway bags and just helping to sponsor the event, as did Para, and as did Buckle. It was really a good event. The turnout was good. I've talked about this in a few videos as I drove home. But yeah, it was just across the board. It was just great. And it was really nice to really meet people in person, all these people that I've known for a long time. But let's get into the Solo thing, guys. So Solo is making some changes and for the better. But as they grow, this is how good companies grow. So I'm going to take some time on if not by Sunday. On Sunday, we're going to start off, you know how we start off the show with a topic. I run it for 20, 30 minutes where I just kind of talk, let everybody get in the room, and then I open up the Sunday Fun Day. So this week, if not before then, I have a piece on this. I'll start off with talking about some Solo. We've done this with Moves too before. And speaking of moves, I want to talk about moves too. Check out worksolo.com. You can find it in the show notes. Please click the affiliate link and let Solo know you came from Rideshare Rodeo. But I also want to talk about Moves Financial, guys. So these guys are great. You know, this bank is just like many of the gig apps. Here's really what it comes down to, guys, is that Moves is a company trying to be a banking company or the bank for gig workers where we can plug in all of our different apps, see where the earnings are coming from, all kinds of tools and things. You earn percentage of the platforms you work as you work them. That you can raise your the amount of money you can borrow against your pay. So if your car breaks down, and a lot of those people who live day to day or week to week on gig work, while things are getting figured out and while inflation's through the roof, you might not have that money to fix the car because you've just been paying everything off constantly. Well, Moves lets you, borrow against. It's at rates that you guys wouldn't believe. I mean, I believe that I'm not sure how long the period lasts, but I know there's like a no interest period, and it's not just like a week or 2 weeks. You get some time, and even after that, it's a company that's willing to work with you. They're learning. I'm learning from them. I love talking to them. And I'm also doing some writing for them. So after the podcast here tonight, I have to do, I have to get I've been gone since Thursday. I got in late last night. And I got to get an article submitted on Winolo. I was calling it Wanolo till we were in St. Louis, and everybody told me, no, it's Winolo. So luckily, I had told my contacts over at Moves that, I haven't worked the app. I don't really do reviews on apps, just like I don't do sponsorship Like if a company calls me and asks me to sponsor them and I haven't used the app or I don't know about it and I haven't done deep dives and I don't know the people at the company and I don't know people using it, I've actually turned away people for advertising stuff. So that's kind of where I was with Winolo. So I've had to do a deep dive. I'm ready to write the piece now, but I luckily got to talk to 2 people at the gig conference who have done it. So another perk that came about from the gig conference. And yeah, if you're wondering why it's just me here today, it's going to be not the longest one because I got to get this turned in tonight, but also it's already running late and I'm dropping this because it was just a long road trip. But if you're wondering why I don't have the co-host this week, the co-host thing is still continuing through this month. So after this month, it'll end, and then there's going to be a little change, and there's going to be one new day and a new project that is going to start happening on Mondays. And then on the Patreon page, Project Dumpling is going to be happening. So if you want to watch Project Dumpling as it starts, everything, I will bring pieces like, clips together over to YouTube, and I'll bring audio clips to here. But to watch, if you want to watch all of it, the good, the bad, the ugly, click the Patreon link and check it out. So so yes, the co-hosting continues. So let me tell you the next 3 weeks. So next week for the podcast, my co-host is Nova Dasher. So, we had him on the round table. Nova Dasher, a lot of fun. Smart guy, knows the gig industry. Looking forward to hashing it out with him on the podcast, talking about whatever the news next week is. The week after that, I have my one of my favorite creators, one of my people that I love having on the podcast. I sit with him every Thursday night for the round table, but I don't often get to have a one-on-one with him. And we used to have a couple back in the day. So the week after, I actually have Hannibal is Hungry. And I'm really looking forward to that because Hannibal and I haven't had a one-on-one in a while. And this is a fun way to do it, fun setting. Because just like the Thursdays where I try and get the roundtable topics around the guest as much as what's going on that week, I try and do the same for the news, which is what's made it a little more difficult. So I try and match the news going on to the co-hosts that I have that week. The week after, I have Yost Malone. We had Yost on the round table too, but I'm having Yost Malone back to co-host. And then it will be the final week of the summer co-host podcast live. And then there's going to be a new way that the podcast will go to YouTube, but otherwise the podcast will drop audio first on Tuesday mornings, as it always has. And we'll kind of go back to a different format, but there's some new things coming down the pipe too. I'm really spent a lot of time in the car, mapped out some of my thoughts, and I've got a lot of ideas where I'm really looking forward to this too. So, the last week of August, I'm not going to tell you who the guest is. You guys are just going to have to wait. So, or what that week is all about, what that week is going to be and look like. But, I guess let's start off a little bit. I'm only going to hit on like 2 subjects today. One of them is pretty big though. So let's start off with the good news and talk about St. Louis a little bit. So from arriving at St. Louis to leaving St. Louis, the whole thing was just quite the adventure. Let me just give you my timeline rundown really quick. So jump in the car Thursday, straight through. And I left after my son got out of work and was home. It was like 4:30. I got on the road and I drove straight through, got there in the morning. Friday, got in, had lunch with Jimmy and David from Para. And we talked a lot about a lot of ideas because we were in person, obviously, and not everybody had arrived yet. So easy to sit down and do that. And then I did a live stream for like an hour just to kind of try and sync everybody up who was in St. Louis. And I found out where Gary was. And obviously I have Gary's number. I can call him. But it was just a way for me to go live stream and kind of see, who's in St. Louis. And so I did. We were able to kind of sort through all that. Then people started showing up that were staying at the powerhouse. So that was cool. So Friday night we went out to dinner. Then we came back and just talked, had a lot of fun. Saturday we got up. Everybody got ready. Faith Dasher Pass showed up. Holly was there. The Para team, Bud Soda was at the house. And the next night we had Picky Pink and her daughter, Tatiana. And we had, let's see, who else? I think we had a couple others that stayed there. But aside from the staying there, so we went to the event. We woke up, we went to the event, and it was from 2 to 8. We were there the whole time. I have still yet to see David in my speech, so I have to really track that down. I'm hoping that there's a couple versions out there. But I want to see those. And everybody's too. I know that Slavic D was looking for his too. So, so we went to the event, and Pedro did a great job. He, it was just a really friendly, inviting atmosphere. Met a lot of new faces and to that, I mean, like people who aren't creators, aren't podcasters, but work in the gig economy or work in the gig economy in St. Louis, just new faces and even new voices that I'm not used to in the chats or whatever. And so that was nice too, because some of these people might not be on YouTube as much as others or on podcasts, but they had some of the same things to say. And I learned a couple new things too. I learn things every time I talk to people. This is why, since the pandemic started, I started the audio podcast, and I've reached out to, after David and I did the, helping people through the beginning of the pandemic, it was, we had reached out to so many people around the country that I just kept expanding that and meeting everybody. So that was a huge piece of the growth here. But anyway, I got to meet a bunch of new faces. I got to meet Yost Malone in person. I got to meet Pedro in person, Hannibal. I already knew Faith, and I already knew Driven Dad, Driven Mom. I met Holly in person. I met Pink in person. I met Bud Soda in person. I met Joe. Joe, I got to tell you guys, Joe's a new favorite of mine. So if you guys don't know about Joe, Joe's channel is called Let's Play DoorDash. And he's actually going to be our guest on this Thursday's roundtable, because I have, after that, next week on the roundtable, we have Zach Drives Fast. And the week after, I'll save that because it's a company one in which we don't do a lot of those, but we have a company CEO that's going to be on. And we're going to talk to him about some stuff that I think you guys are going to find really important. But this week I didn't have a guest down, so I was going to just plug somebody in when I got back. But after meeting Joe and seeing that he wrote a song at the conference and seeing that he performed that song at the conference and just the way he carried himself. And of course, I have to throw in, Joe is from Michigan. I'm from Michigan. And for those of you who maybe know Michigan people to be, oh yeah, I always get along with Michigan people. They're good people, or whatever you might think, let's say. To those of us from Michigan, there is a huge bond. I know that a lot of people might say that about their home state or whatnot, but it's a little bit different with Michigan. And I even say that about the guys and the girls, like guys and girls, the way they connect who are from Michigan, girls and girlfriends who connect, and guys and their guy friends that connect. We are very Michigan. No matter where you go, if you grew up in Michigan or if you spent enough time there in your formative years, you can't get the Michigan out of you, and nor would I ever want to. I love everything about the state. As much as I miss it, if you can hear, I'm congested. As I rolled back in Colorado, I could sense that it was dry again, but it was muggy in St. Louis, which made me remember how muggy it gets in Michigan. So, it's nice to be back in a dry climate. I got to say, that's probably, I know my son is the biggest part of why I'm in Colorado. I came here to snowboard and many, many years ago. and was still working for the laser company and got into the bar industry and got married and had a kid and all this. And I wasn't planning on going anywhere. And I still, Michigan, again, is just too muggy for me. I can deal with the change of seasons. I know a lot of people are like, whoa, that place is cold in the winter. I can deal with the black ice in Michigan. I can deal with the season changes. That's not the problem. But I love the mountains and I love the weather out here. So I just have to be a relocated Michigan boy in Colorado. So anyway, Joe's going to be our guest. Joe is from Michigan and Let's Play DoorDash. So check out his channel. It's good stuff on YouTube. Otherwise, so the conference ended and we all went back to the powerhouse, and I think that we were probably there about 8:30. Park was really close to where the powerhouse was, so really only like 15 minutes. So probably left right at 8. We were actually there by 8:15, and then, we had everybody that wanted to back over to the house. And I think that, I know that I saw a picture. I know there's other pictures out there, but I saw one of the pictures I knew about that has 12 of us in it. Pedro, his girl, me, Hannibal, Gary Middleton, his wife, Joe and his wife. Let's Play DoorDash. We had Dash or Die. We had Dash or Pass. We just had a crew, but I noticed that in the picture that I saw already, David and Jimmy are not in the picture. And they were absolutely at the house. I don't know why they didn't join us in the picture. Maybe they did in another one, I'm sure, because I thought I remember them being in one. So that was, anyway, that was a 12-person picture, and David and Jimmy weren't in it. So we know at least at the end, by the time we were like kind of wrapping it up at the house around midnight, we got there about 8:15. Everybody else got there between 8:15, 8:45. It was pretty quick because it'd been a long day outside. And we had enough room in the house to host everybody. We brought the patio chairs in and the ones so we had enough seats. We had some couches. And, I know we had 15 people, maybe more at a point, but we had 14 even at the very end because we had David, Jimmy, and the 12 in the picture. And it was a really good time. Nobody live recorded, nobody live streamed, nobody was even talking about work. We were just kind of relaxing from the day and doing more of a get to know one another. So, that said, I'm going to jump into some news here, and then that's going to be it for the week. But this is some stuff that happened while I was gone. So let me pull this up, and we got to talk. Okay, single take, you guys. Here's what's up. So since I left on Thursday, I posted the last post I made from the house anyway on uberliftdrivers.com, which is where you can get all the news that I bring to here, guys. So make sure you're visiting the website, uberliftdrivers.com. It's not just rideshare, guys. It's everything. And by everything, I mean everything. So the last post I made was a news roundup on the 28th, Thursday before I left town. And since here's what's happened. So here's some of the posts now up on there is the FTC and the National Labor Relations Board announced that they're cooperating to try and bring new new ways of handling us gig employees. I don't want to start using the word PROACT again. However, that's kind of what I'm alluding to. And that's one article up there. There's another one here. These are just some article titles that are up on uberliftdrivers.com right now. New collaboration between federal agencies spells antitrust trouble for gig economy. I mean, they're really, the NLRA, the National Labor Relations Association, is really going at, or the National Labor Relations Act and the National Labor Relations Board is really going after the gig economy right now. I mean, we've been talking about this for a while, but it's getting way worse. I think that I've been kind of giving you guys my speculation, like people who speculate on the market. I do that a lot. It's my opinion, but I've been telling you guys we need to worry about this stuff. We need to worry about while we're all earning and making this good money and this and that and the other, we need to be thinking about, well, the gig economy is not going anywhere. I talked about this in my speech at the gig conference. It's not going anywhere. We all know this. But if we don't, really pay attention right now, they are trying to shove some laws through. And actually, in Massachusetts, it worked. In California, it's been in place for 2 years, and it's failing miserably. The rest of the country is subsidizing the gig workers in California. And if the gig workers in California are like, yeah, at least we're getting our money, well, that's not going to last forever, because here we're facing like 3 other states going that direction. California is already too much for these companies. I won't mention the names because I've gotten a little, I've gotten a little feedback like, you don't know that, you don't know. Again, I don't know that, but I do speak to a lot of people that I know for a fact most of you do not speak with. And a lot of these people are on the front lines, and even they don't know it, but they give me the inside tips. And I got to tell you guys, I mean, usually when I have these people on, Kim Cavan, Karen Anderson, the Gail Gordons, the Lisa Rothsteins, the, whoever they are, these people who really understand these laws, they have never really steered me wrong. When I feed that information to you, that's coming directly from them. I've never fed you guys any wrong information, even stuff that they say, well, this one's iffy, I don't know. I just don't bring it on here until it's a little more for sure. But the bottom line is that we really got to pay attention to what's going on in this country, because we're all enjoying the gig work life, and inflation's high, and more people are coming into the gig economy. And so, it's, we have to be careful that we don't get too comfortable. Like, even, I always say to you, don't do one app. Even though I used to say you can do one, that's fine. These days I tell you, don't do one. If you're able to do multi-apping, do multi-apping. Have as many apps in your arsenal as you can. But here's the thing. We're always like talking about one app or the other, right? Like Uber, okay, or this or that or the other. And here's the bottom line, guys, is that, like if we're talking about Uber, if we're talking about Instacart and their pay, and we start focusing on that too much, behind the scenes, what is happening is so much more important. I mean, and by this I mean, like, if you only work Instacart, let's say, because I have a problem with their pay. Let's say you only work for Instacart, and you're like, this is wrong. This needs to be more. If you look behind the scenes, what's behind there is way worse. I mean, like 100,000 times worse, because it takes away flexibility down the road. Yeah, we can talk about, I don't like the words anymore, Prop 22. Luckily, it's not going to be around forever. I'm glad about that, because other states were going to follow that model, already are starting to follow it, and it's a failed model. It doesn't work. I mean, the only people who might say it works are delivery drivers who are getting Prop 22 supplemental pay in California. But initially, guys, you got to remember that AB 5 took down an entire people's lifetimes, 40 years of work, pre-gig economy. And that was more important. It took down a large percentage of that. There were carve-outs, this, that, the other. But other states are now following this model. Really, the model was created, or the gig part was supposed to be more, the Prop 22 stuff was supposed to be more for rideshare drivers. But as I've explained before, rideshare drivers, it's for active time. And like if you're in San Francisco, the minimum wage is what? It's 10 cents, give or take, from $19.50 or something. So let's call it $20 an hour. And then the gig companies have to add on 20%. That's $24 an hour. If you're working for Grubhub, or if you're working for DoorDash and you're getting $3 base pay, all you can do is 2 orders in an hour. That's 6 hours. Okay. And so, or that's $6 for the 2 orders base pay. So DoorDash has to cut you a Prop 22 check for every active hour of $18. It probably sounds great if this worked as a model for A, the company, and B, for the entire country. To say that in California it's happening, and let's kind of base our models on that. Well, it's not. It's happening, but it's not working. It's not working for anybody except for the people who are doing delivery, because rideshare drivers make more than 24 in an active hour. So really, they're not seeing anything from it. And those were supposed to be the people who were supposed to benefit from this. Same thing's about to happen up in Seattle. And now the same thing's going to happen in Massachusetts. So come January, we're going to see some interesting stuff. And before then, I think I've now been looking into it today. And I've got it boiled down to, I'm going to save it for next week, but I've got it boiled down to, I think there's 4 more states that possibly could go. That would make 7 states total that move to a more that are making their moves quickly towards an employee or a franchise model. And you might not see it that way, because you might see, well, no, it's still allowing flex. Of course it's going to allow flex. When people rip the rug out from under you, they don't do it that way. They don't come up behind you, just take the rug and rip it. They actually, they gradually wean you off stuff and make other things appear to be this great thing. So it's like you feel like you're being taken care of until they've got the logistics down where they're like, okay, now we can yank the rug. So that's what's going to happen there, guys. I mean, we can debate about it all day. And maybe the next few weeks, I'll take 5 minutes with each of my co-hosts and we'll talk about this very issue, and then we'll move on. But I'll just take 5 minutes and see what their take is on it. And I won't even debate them. I'll just see what their take is on it, because it's about to get scary. And people, if you just don't have the time, you're working all the time, let at least check out the podcast every week here, because I will be all over this until the November vote. However, I'll be covering a lot of other things too, as a lot of new things are coming up on the radar. But there's a lot of good stories on Uber Lyft drivers right now. So the one I'm going to tell you about today. So this is a story from Paris. Now, you might be saying, well, okay, well, that's not here in the United States, so what do we care? Because the gig economy is growing globally at a phenomenal rate. We do have to watch the other countries. And something happened big there in the last few days. So Just Eat over in Europe, they promised France. We're talking about France here. So they promised France that they were going to move to a not gig worker. We're going to take care of them with, all employee benefits, and we're going to do this, that, and the other. And I got to say, it kind of looked like how the Prop 22 people are working in California. It was like, okay, they're giving us supplemental pay. They're going to cover a little bit of our insurance. And, and great, we're making more money. Okay, well, so it's kind of the same thing. And now here's what's happening though. When that happened, Just Eat's CEO, got into a little spat actually with Dara, the CEO from Uber, about why don't you guys do this as well? And there's actually a link in the article on Uber Lyft drivers. The article, Gig Workers Are Losing Their Hard-Won Rights. And in the first paragraph, the very end, there is a link that says pay your workers minimum wage. That'll bring you that story on the report. But basically, Just Eat challenged Uber to, why aren't you doing this? Why don't you take care of people better? Well, let me see. So, despite all of that happened, and that was 2020 too. So same timeline as AB5. But despite that, Just Eat is now attempting to U-turn on previous promises. So Just Eat couriers based across France received an email on July 18th outlining a coming company restructure, which would mean that the riders' status as employees would change. Okay, so Just Eat Takeaway has been a major advocate of the salaried delivery model in continental Europe and France. However, we cannot continue to do this alone, the email read, blaming regulators for not forcing its competitors to stop using gig workers. Riders in Paris can still expect to be paid per hour, but local unions say around 350 couriers working in 26 other French cities, from Lyons to other cities, are now at risk of losing their job. So here's the thing. So Just Eat kind of said like, hey, we're going to go to this. We're not going to use gig workers. We're going to like pay them correctly and treat them this way. Again, I don't want to be an employee, and that's what they're talking about. Even if they allowed a little bit of flex, it wasn't full flex. So, but that's not a model that me or pretty much pretty much everybody I talk to, we don't want that. That's one of the biggest things. And now Just Eat was challenging the other companies. Why don't you do what we're doing if you're so good? Well, now Just Eat is saying, listen, because the regulators here aren't, and nothing's being restructured, nobody's being forced to pay this. We can't do this alone. We're going to move away from the salaried delivery model and go back to the gig model. So I was just talking about having the rug yanked from under you. Well, that's about what's about to happen there. And I was saying how it won't happen, but they already got the Prop 22 type status. Now they've got to deal with this. And it's like, okay, now they're going to yank the rug out, and now it's going to be reality. Now it's going to be this, because again, Just Eat came to the conclusion we can't make a profit. Now, all of us are saying, yeah, but none of these companies make the profit. Okay, well, that's true, but here's the thing. Just Eat actually claimed that forecasting at their growth rate and salaried workers, they won't be able to make a profit. So their forecasting shows that no matter where down the line, at a salaried base job where it needs to be a gig model independent contractor, the company can't survive. If Just Eat can't survive, I know, you might say, well, Uber's bigger. Well, Just Eat's very big, you guys. Very big over there. Very big. They even have their hand in things here, as we know. So they are one of the bigger ones. They are one of the giants. And they said their forecasting says we can't make money. And when I say forecasting, these companies take it out in months, years, many years. So, I mean, if they're looking 10 years out and they're saying we still can't make money, 5 years, nope, we're not going to be even close. If we have to pay everybody has to be salaried employees or, however the employee structure is set up, we can't do it. So I think we're about to see the gig economies all do a U-turn, as I was mentioning, on the way that the UK structured this, which is basically about the same as California. But the UK did it before California too, and it was very clear to people. It didn't just pop up as AB5, then these carve-outs, then a vote in November of 2020 that would go into effect in 2021, which effectively left the United States a year behind where the EU's at. Okay, so imagine us a year behind. The EU's, all the gig companies are about to go, nope, we're not following that anymore. We're going to go back to the way that we've always been, which is not following your legislation, not following your rules. And if you want to kick us out, kick us out. So that's how they had been operating forever. And we all wondered, why aren't they just making regulations? Okay, first of all, it is what it is, but they couldn't be enforced. It's like Uber getting kicked out of countries and coming back. But the problem here is on both sides. So, if you want to be an employee, go out and get a W-2 job. This was never meant to be one. This is what it is. It's, hey, you can work on your own schedule. We send you offers and you can take them or not. So, as I've said many times, if they showed complete transparency, many of these battles would just be over. And that's another piece of news that is going on. So I advise you guys to check into that. We will be talking about that on Thursday in depth on the Roundtable Thursday night, which will drop on Friday. We will be back to dropping Friday roundtables weekly again. So this week. So yeah, I mean, just they're gonna walk away from this, or they're gonna just say we're gonna go back to operating without following the rules and regulations that they want us to follow. And they're about a year in front of us. So what happens in a year? Where are we going to be? That's what I've been telling you guys for a while. So I'm going to actually leave it with that and let you guys go do some diving on uberlyftdrivers.com if you want, because it's all in there. If you read the last 6-7 days articles or just find some in there, you'll start piecing together things and going, oh my gosh, I get it. But it's all in there, and I was doing a news roundup today, and some of this we'll be talking about on Thursday too. There's a new congressional bill that would create hybrid job classifications for gig workers. But it's already facing a stiff opposition. I mean, so, like hybrid, we've talked about that. That's acceptable to me, because if you come to me and you say independent contractor or W-2 employee with union dues, I don't even need a half a second to say independent contractor. And you can put that for life. I will never go the other route. So, I mean, to give me the choice is what we need. If you're going to have the employee model in place, you also need to have the independent contractor model, because that's how all of these platforms were built, and I get it, but we're always, with the rate technology moves, we're always going to be facing new challenges on how to regulate or how to tax or how to do certain things in this country. So when a new thing like gig apps comes out for independent contractors to be able to work, the solution is not just to say, well, make them join a union and make them pay union dues, and we'll just solve it that way. That is not the solution. You killed people in California who had 40-year businesses, nonprofits. I won't even get into it because I have enough time. You guys could probably do it for me. But there's a bill on the table too for gig workers into the federal law again. Would effectively get rid of the minimum wage and overtime compensation. And that's from Market Watch. And that's a very, very good article. That is in, so there's an article today, Gig Economy News Roundup, August 2nd on uberlyftdrivers.com. All these articles are on there. This one that I'm talking about, the minimum wage and overtime, is a very interesting article, because it does say that you will get some of the perks of a W-2 job, but it actually breaks down how it's not even debatable. It would get rid of a minimum wage and overtime compensation. So there's a big problem there. There's an article about a flood of new drivers are joining Uber because everything is more expensive. Yeah, of course. I mean, this is things we're going to face. Uber is fighting, or Uber is making some gains and fighting for a space in the last mile services in a space against Amazon. To me, like, okay, well, wow, Amazon's got it pretty dialed, but I don't think Uber has the clout to carry that. People aren't going to be like, well, they're the new Amazon for me. Maybe not, but maybe there's some wild ways they're coming in. I'm going to research it more before Thursday, because last mile is a big thing that I'm into. I think that that's where the best pay is right now. And I don't try and hide it and keep that from you guys. I always tell you it's where it's at. Check out Curry, check out some of the other ones, But there's an article from Autoblog from July 31st that we've seen this around a bunch, but this is one worth reading. Uber now allows its drivers to see destination and rates ahead of time. The way that it was broke down in the article is pretty interesting, because it says great for the drivers. Of course, that's transparency. That's what we need. Horrible for the customers. Yeah, because if you're not tipping, if you're not going to pay for the ride what you should pay, nobody's going to pick you up. And that's how it should be. That's what makes it independent contractor, because then if you're putting in too little of an amount, well, you need to put in more. And if that doesn't fly, you need to put in a little more. And if you're like, I can't spend any more than that, then Uber's not going to be your choice anymore. You're going to have to find a different way to travel. Cab. But cabs are usually more expensive, oddly. Or you might, if you're like, I can't afford Ubers anymore. Well, then so be it. You're going to have to get a car, take the bus, ride a bike. I don't know. But that's how it should have been all along. I mean, like, to keep slashing and fighting to the bottom for worker pay is not the solution. I've always said a high churn rate is not good. In fact, it's going to lead to major problems down the road. So, The Guardian today is, August 2nd, is claiming that Uber bookings hit their all-time high over the past 3 months. since they started for bookings. So I don't know if that's due to lack of drivers or what. I know that there's a lot to, in this article, there's a lot to people are going back to the offices and stuff. There's also an article in here about do you want to see how Uber price gouges you? This is actually, it's from the Daily Dot. I don't know if any of you guys ever check that out, but it's a good article because it specifically talks about LAX, and it says, I can't remember if it's a Ramada or a Hilton. Let me see if I can pull it up here real quick. But it basically says that, if you're at LAX and you request a ride, right? And you want to, here, let me see. I pulled it up. So let me say the numbers that they actually use here. Okay. If you want to, get a ride from LAX airport, you call for it, and it might be, $50, let's say. The example in here is to a restaurant. It just says LAX to a restaurant. Okay, so it doesn't say what restaurant it's using, but it says it's $50 ride. Okay, so, well, obviously the first question is, where is that restaurant? How many miles away from LAX is it? How much time is it going to take? All the things that us drivers would want to know. Okay, but instead of telling us all that, it does a comparison that gives us good insight on exactly all we really need to know about this. So if you call from LAX and you say, I need the ride to this restaurant, it's $50. If you cross the street to the hotel, and if you've ever been to LAX, this is why I can't remember if it's a Hilton or a Ramada or what, but it's 500 feet from LAX is a hotel. It's a Ramada, a Hilton. I think it's a Hilton, I want to say, but might be wrong. But if you walk out of LAX 500 feet and go to that hotel, the same ride is $8.59 from LAX to the restaurant, because you're being picked up at the hotel. And I'm not talking about walking a mile or anything even. I'm talking about walking out of the doors of LAX, where you have to walk out anyway to catch the ride, and then walking 500 feet to the hotel. You can see it from every exit of LAX. It's right there in the middle. And you just walk over to there. You do the same Uber, get an Uber car, and it's $8.59. So it's 1/6 the price to stand 500 feet away. So you guys, this is kind of, there's so much going on. There's so much news I just put up, and being gone for even just a couple days can put me way behind sometimes. So I don't know what else is going to come out this week. I might have another piece even coming out. And obviously 13 minutes of news on Saturday, and we're going to do the Friday radio show. And I got some other things going. We got the Thursday roundtable, but I have another piece that might have to be done tomorrow on just some of this in like a 20-minute thing, or 15 minutes even, to really get people's attention, because there's a lot going on here. But otherwise, guys, the gig conference was great. Please join us Thursday night. And for the audiocast listeners, 7 a.m. Tuesday is when the podcast drops, and 7 a.m. Friday is when the podcast will drop for the roundtable. So if you're looking to listen to the roundtable too, for the audio podcast listeners, it will drop at the same time on Friday morning. So Friday morning at 7 a.m. That's Mountain Time, though. Maybe. I can't remember how I do it. I think it's Mountain. But anyway, in the morning, first thing, it drops on Tuesday, the regular podcast, and on Friday, the roundtable. So that said, I want to give another shout out, you guys, to a bunch of, remember again how I treat my affiliates, okay? I have to believe in your company, have used your app, know people who use it, have personal contact with the CEO, all these other things before I'm even willing to really work with people, because I have a different strategy in mind when I do this. I'm not just advertising to advertise. I'm doing it because I believe in some of these companies. Others I'm trying to believe in, and I'm not saying I think they're bad. I just don't know yet. And then some of them I straight up don't believe in, and those I'll never mention by name. Okay, so I just won't. I mean, like, the only one I'll mention by name is like Uber. I'll tell you, Uber I don't trust. So, but they do provide work. So it's another app that we have to have in the arsenal. But yeah, I want to give a shout out to Pedro DoorDash Santiago, everybody I met at the conference. I want to give major props to Solo, to Moves, to Gary'sApps.com, Middleton Tech, DUH Maximo, to Curry, to Display Ride, to, if I have it in the show notes as an affiliate link, I believe in it. I think you guys should do it, or at least look into it if you're interested. I believe that your research should start on it that you personally do. If you see it in the show notes as a referral link, that means that, because you'll notice, again, I say this a lot, the thing I've done the most of is rideshare, without a doubt, hands down, not even close. But you won't find Uber or Lyft rideshare referral links in there, because I don't refer people to them anymore. I just, it was a different story years ago. Now I think if you're going to work in the gig economy, I'll help get you started. I'll tell you to work some other apps though, some of the off-brand ones, because that's where the money's at, and that's what you got to follow. So you guys, without further ado, that's the week, and I'm out of here. Go out there and spin some good into this crazy world, and we will see you back here next week on Rodeo. Peace.
Driving